Hey, Troy Allison with WSB in Atlanta. Did you ever imagine growing up that you have this opportunity to face your dad in the World Series? And now that it's a reality, just what has that been like for you and the Snitker family?
Yeah, growing up, I don't think it was something that we ever even dreamed of. Just, to be in the big leagues at the same time while he's a major league manager and I'm in the big leagues as well here. Just that alone would be very special. But, past our wildest dreams to get to this point, to both win a pennant and get to face off, it's something that, we never could have dreamed of as a family.
And the third row, Ron.
So for mom and sis, are they going to be at the ballpark wearing Astros gear, Braves gear? Who gets them the tickets, you or your dad?
My dad's getting the tickets. Told him he's on the hook for that. But that reminds me, I got to go pick up 2 jerseys. I think they're trying to get something together.
What do they wear? Half of each, or?
I don't know if they're planning on doing half. I know our boys will probably have a little bit of both. Maybe Braves jerseys, Astros hats. But they're trying to figure it out now.
Thanks.
We could stay in this row with Steve or Christy.
When we covered the Super Bowl, when the Harbaugh brothers faced off, their parents said they were going to go to whichever side lost to console them before they congratulated. It's such a weird dynamic. Have you talked to your mother about this? How does she feel about this?
Yeah, I've talked to her. I think she's just slightly overwhelmed at the moment, trying to get her mind around the concept that this is actually happening, and I think she was in a rush to get out here to Houston.
We'll go to Christy and then Tyler.
I'm sure there's a lot, but I wonder what's the most important lesson that your dad taught you that helped you get to this point in your life?
I think just his work ethic. I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from him. Being able to watch him, from a young age at the ballpark, he's just so consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. He's so consistent, hardworking. He's the same guy every day when you're in the clubhouse with him. And I think that's what I got to be around for so many years, and just to see it in action, see how he treats people. He has so many positive qualities about him, but he's always the same guy. No matter whether they're winning or losing, he takes the same mindset to the field every day. And then he's been through so much in his career where there were plenty of times where he could have easily decided to go do something else. But he stuck with it. And I'd say his hard work is the biggest thing that I try to emulate with him.
Go to Tyler.
I just want to ask you a couple hitting questions about you guys for a minute. Astros don't strike out very much. I think only Toronto had fewer strikeouts, and that's been a staple for this team for a while. How much does that help you guys offensively, and sort of how do they manage to both slug and not strike out?
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I don't think just because you make a lot of contact that you can't also hit for power. I think we have a lot of guys that because they hit for so much contact, they also hit for power as well. But we've got so many guys that just their swings are so efficient where they can make a lot of contact. These guys are so good in the strike zone. They're so smart in terms of how guys are throwing them. It's just, and I think that's probably the biggest credit to why our offense can keep getting to this point is because when the pitching gets good in the playoffs, our guys are able to handle it. They're able to handle velo. They're able to handle quality stuff. They're just that elite. Where when you start seeing these guys that are really, really good down the line, they just keep turning in positive at bats and grinding guys down, even if they're throwing well. They just grind them out until we can put ourselves in a good position, and that usually is has a good outcome.
Go to Ken and then Zach.
Troy, how much do you and your dad normally talk business, outside of this occurrence here?
During the season, we don't talk a ton about baseball. We're both so busy on different parts of the country. We may touch base. We obviously have a family text that we keep in touch with the whole family, and we'll talk. We may only talk once or once a week or maybe twice a week at some points. But during the season, we keep it family related and not as much business related. And then in the off season, when we're sitting around, we may talk a little bit more about the game. But
get-
during the season, we have a beautiful family. My sister has 3 boys that are all over the place. So we love being around them.
And you live in the same area
Yeah.
in the off-season?
Yes.
I'll go to Gabe there on the left, and then Zach.
Hey, Troy. Your dad obviously was so busy with baseball when you were at a young age. What role did your mother play in terms of, I guess, helping your career along and pushing you toward the path that you got you here today?
She was an absolute rock star. There's not many people that can stick with the professional baseball life, especially in the minor leagues. There's so many things that she did well that if she wasn't the way she was, we never would have made it to this point. She was a school teacher. We literally, right after the last day of school, she was picking us up and we were going wherever he was. First day of spring break, we were there wherever he was. And she would always just drop on a dime to take us to go see our dad. There were 6 months out of the year where we were either away or without him. And I think if you ask both my sister and obviously myself, we wouldn't have had it any other way. It was special the way we grew up.
And it's managing such a tough business these days, and typically the trend is to go younger with managers. What does it mean to you to see your dad persevere as he has and get to this point?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that he's been with the same. I think there's a lot to be said that he's been with the same organization for so long. I think this is year 44, and especially in today's game, that's something you don't see. It's something that wouldn't have happened if he wasn't doing a lot of things right, and if he wouldn't have stuck out a lot of tough times. So for him to get to this point and be a major league manager towards the end of his career it's something that you don't see nowadays. You don't see people sticking with it as long as he's had, and I'm just we're so grateful that he's getting this opportunity.
Take a few more on your right, Zach.
What's your earliest memory of what your dad did for a living? And when you were around the Thanksgiving table, whether he was in Macon or Durham or Gwinnett, did you ever think that he thought that you'd actually be managing the Braves in the World Series?
Earliest memory was probably, I remember going to spring training really young. I remember going to old West Palm Beach back when the Braves were there. I remember going in the clubhouse and seeing Chipper. I think that was probably around 93, 94 when I was young. My first, concrete memories were that summer in Durham in 95, which was my first summer at, being at the field with him where he drug me in every day. But I have a lot of special memories of, spending a summer at a baseball field. What was the second part? I'm sorry.
Someone who's managed 2,700 games in the minors. Did you really think he was going to get to this point right now?
Yeah, I think there was a time where he thought that, there was a chance, especially, he spent a lot of time in the big leagues, either in between or after that managing stint in the minor leagues where he was Bobby's third base coach and Freddie's as well. I definitely think there was a time where he thought the ship had sailed. I know it was a dream of his to be able to do this and be able to manage in the big leagues, and I think he always knew that he could do it. But I definitely think there was a point where he probably didn't think it was going to happen anymore, which makes this very special.
Do 3 more, starting with Mark.
Troy, I'm assuming you'll remember this. Your mom says that it's a work in progress about how she's going to represent, because she doesn't want to draw attention to herself.
Yeah.
She's going to wear a button photo of the Braves and a button photo of you when you were 6 years old, and you were wearing an Astros uniform. Do you remember that? And how
Yeah,
crazy is that after all these years?
Yeah, I do remember it. My first T-ball team was the Astros. So being 5'6", those were the first uniforms that I ever wore. But yeah, I definitely think she's a work in progress for how she's going to deal with all this. I don't think any of us know.
And Greg, did you have a question? No, and then on the right side, Ryan. Thank you.
Has your dad always been an eternal optimist? I mean, it seems like good or bad times, post-game in Atlanta, he is the same guy, and it's usually pretty positive.
I think after 44 years, I think he's seen just about every type of outcome that you could see in a game. So I think it's just he has a great ability to be the same person no matter what. When when he came home after games, he never brought it home. He always focused back on our family, and I think that comes with experience. I think it comes with him knowing how hard that the game is. I think it's just him understanding that, you're gonna have good times, you're gonna have bad times when teams are struggling and players are struggling, and he's just. I think that's why players gravitate towards him and really respect him, because he understands that and he always supports him.
We'll finish up with Steve on your right, Troy.
And when the final out takes place in the World Series, is it fair to say you will be both happy and sad, or are you that eternal an optimist that you'll just be happy?
I'm not sure how I'll feel. Obviously, we probably both feel the same way in terms of that this is about the guys that are playing, this is about the teams that are playing. I know he feels like his guys have overcome so much to get to this point and are very deserving. I obviously feel the same way. I feel like, being with these guys every day, we've earned the chance to be here. We're good enough to do it, and so I expect us to win 4 games. I know this team can do it. He probably feels the same way. So I don't think I'm going to be happy unless we get those 4 games.